So when we talk about countries, you've got your democracies, your monarchies, maybe a few dictatorships you can point to on a map. But then there's Latveria. It's a place that just breaks every single category, a nation literally forged in the image of one guy. And if you really want to get a handle on this strange, isolated kingdom, you have to first understand its creator, its ruler, and its protector, the one and only Dr. Doom.
Yeah, this is pretty much what everyone thinks, right? It's the classic comic book setup. You see a ruler in a metal mask, you hear the word despot, and you figure you've got the whole story. He's the bad guy, plain and simple, and his people are just helpless victims. It's all very black and white.
Okay, but what if it's not that simple? What if the story is a whole lot messier? What happens if you get rid of that iron fist, and instead of freedom and sunshine, you get chaos, civil war, and total collapse? And that is the massive puzzle we're going to try and piece together today.
See, to really get why Latveria needs Doom, or at least why he thinks it does, we have to look at what the country was like before he showed up. We have to go back and understand the pain and the persecution that shaped the boy Victor von Doom long before he ever welded that mask to his face. So picture this. Before Doom, Latveria was this kind of forgotten backwater kingdom run by the Fortunov dynasty, and they were just awful. The king, Vladimir Fortunov, was especially cruel, and he had it out for the Romani people living in the region. And it's right there, in a small clan called the Zefiro, that our story really begins.
Victor's childhood was just one tragedy after another, and every single one was a direct result of this brutal regime. His mother, Cynthia, was a powerful sorceress who made a deal with the demon Mephisto to try and protect her people. It backfired, horribly, and she was killed. Then his father, Werner, a healer, couldn't save the king's wife, so he was blamed. He died in the cold, fleeing with young Victor. So now he's an orphan, brilliant and just filled with rage. His genius gets him to a university in America, but an experiment to reach his mother's spirit goes wrong and he's left scarred. That's when he returns, not as a victim, but as a conqueror in armor, ready to free his people and take the throne for himself.
So, with the old king dead and the Fortunovs gone, Doom doesn't just, take over. Oh no, he tears the entire country down to the studs and rebuilds it from the ground up. This wasn't just a simple takeover. This was the birth of a whole new kind of nation. It's funny. Doom would never call himself a dictator. He has his own term for it, an enforced monarchy. The logic is actually pretty straightforward. He took the throne by force, because in his mind, he's the only person on the planet smart enough and strong enough to rule it properly. His power isn't just legitimate. He sees it as an absolute necessity.
And the crazy thing is, by most metrics, he delivers. We're talking about a population of about 500,000 people, and they live in this perfect little bubble. While the rest of the world is dealing with economic collapse, political infighting, and wars, Latverians are totally shielded from all of it. Their safety is guaranteed by one man's genius, magic, and just his unbreakable will.
So what's the catch? What's it actually like to be an average person living in this perfect little sanctuary? Well, it all boils down to this unspoken contract every single citizen accepts. Let's call it the Latverian bargain. All right, so here's the deal, laid out plain and simple. The pros are, well, they're pretty hard to argue with. You get total safety, super advanced technology. Everyone gets an education, there's no pollution. But, and this is a huge but, the price is everything. You are watched constantly. You must obey without question. Speak out of turn, and you're gone. You're trading all of your personal liberty for a life of perfect security.
And when I say the control is absolute, I mean it gets bizarre. The legally required way to say goodbye literally translates to, "May Doom reward you." You are required by law to publicly denounce Reed Richards. And get this, every high school graduate is expected to know how to build a simple Doom bot. I mean, talk about a practical education, right? Every little part of your life, even the holidays, is completely micromanaged by him.
Okay, so this is the big question, isn't it? The bargain seems to work, but is the whole system just a house of cards? What happens if you pull Doom out of the equation? Well, lucky for us, we don't have to guess. We've seen it happen.
And there's a clear, heartbreaking pattern that just repeats itself over and over. Every time Doom leaves, whether he's kicked out or just steps down, Latveria instantly implodes. The last time he tried to let them have a free state, bam, civil war. The country became a pawn for other nations, the attempt at democracy was a disaster, and a new, much crueler tyrant took his place. And in the end, who had to come back and clean up the whole mess? Doom. It's like the country has been so shaped by his will, it literally can't function without him anymore.
So, this all builds to the final central conflict here. The very existence of Latveria forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question about what a society actually needs to survive.
Here's the ultimate paradox. The nation is completely trapped. Without Doom, it just collapses into fire and chaos. With Doom, the people live these safe, prosperous, and completely unfree lives. They are stuck between a rock and a hard place, a tyrant who gives them everything, and a freedom they don't seem to know what to do with.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. Victor von Doom took this broken, miserable homeland and he turned it into a perfectly ordered, high-tech, totally safe nation. You could call it a perfect prison. Is that existence better than the violent, messy freedom that seems to be the only alternative? There's just no easy answer to that one.